Hello and welcome everyone to our NetSuite 2023.2 release highlights webinar this morning. My name is Ross Johnstone, and for those that don't know me, I'm a solution consultant here at Eureka Solutions, and I'll be the host for this morning's webinar. So those of you that have joined our release highlights webinar before, you'll know what to expect. But for those of you that haven't, here's a quick agenda. So we'll start off with an overview of the new release process and what to expect, as well as what to look out for as part of that process. We'll then go into our top 10 highlights, so our pick of the features and enhancements that are coming out as part of 2023.2. As always, we'll leave some time at the end for a Q&A. So if you do have any burning questions as we are going through this morning's webinar, then please feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat, and we'll get them at the end. Of course, beyond that, if there's any further questions or any of the features and enhancements that we speak of today that you want to look into in a bit more detail, then please feel free to reach out to your account manager, and we'd be more than happy to set up a discussion to let you know how these features and enhancements can be used by your company. So just quickly, starting off with a release overview. So we are currently in the phasing of the 2023.2 NetSuite release. Now, all customers are scheduled to be upgraded between August and October. There's 3 phases, so 1 phase per month. I think actually some people on the call may be due for an upgrade tomorrow, whereas some people on the call might be later in October. So there's those different phases. Now, in terms of the kind of it being informed of when your upgrade is, you'll receive the exact upgrade date 3 weeks in advance of your upgrade to allow you to plan accordingly. Now, beyond that, you can add the new release portlet onto your home dashboard. Now, this allows you to see your upgrade date, first of all, but it also gives visibility of different sneak peeks, release notes, and test plans, and making sure that you are up to date with the new release and what to expect from 2023.2. Now, to add that to your home dashboard, if you click on Personalize and then New Release, you can add that portlet to your home dashboard. Beyond that, administrators can also request access to the release preview by going to Setup Company and Release Preview. Now, the release preview, for those of you that this may be their first NetSuite upgrade, this is a copy of your system in the new version. So that means that you can test all key processes and any customizations along with the new functionality in 2023.2. A reminder that customer scheduled maintenance is now available. So if you do receive your upgrade date but want to move that, then you can put in a request to do so. I believe that you need to give at least 48 or 72 hours notice prior to your upgrade. And before we get into the features that we're going to be covering today, just a disclaimer that the new features may be subject to change. Now, the release notes are reviewed on a weekly basis. You'll see some of my slides have already been removed, so we're constantly updating this. The release notes are being regularly reviewed and updated, so worth keeping an eye out on this. So just to say that there's a feature that I mentioned today may not make it into that 2023.2 release, but of course we can keep you informed on that as well. Now, in terms of the new release portlet that I mentioned, if we add that to the home dashboard, this is what you'll see. So as mentioned, we can get access to those sneak peeks across the system, as well as visibility of the release notes from here, release preview guide, training resources, and so on. So without further ado, the reason that most of you will be here today is for the top 10 feature highlights. So our pick of the features and enhancements from 2023.2 release. So just to start off, we've got the vendor invoice distribution SuiteApp. Now, originally when I made these slides, this was further up in the list, but you'll see that we do have an asterisk here that has been clarified in the latest version of the release notes, which came out on Monday this week, that this is not quite available yet, but we've kept it in our top 10 as it is a SuiteApp that is worth keeping an eye out for. Now, this suite app is an expansion of the shared vendor bill suite solution, which some of you may be familiar with. Now, a suite solution is a non-managed bundle, whereas the suite app that will be coming out is managed and will be upgraded over time as well. Now, with the vendor invoice distribution suite app, you'll be able to distribute shared expenses from a single supplier invoice. Now, that could be across different subsidiaries that you've got within NetSuite, or it could be across different departments or other segments across your business. Now, these can be distributed on a case-by-case basis. So if you've got a supplier invoice and you want to do that distribution ad hoc, you can do so. But beyond that, you can get a bit more automation through percentage or amount-based distribution templates that can be set up in NetSuite, which allow you to do that distribution easily and quickly. Now, once that distribution has been completed, NetSuite would then automatically create the journal entries needed to split that shared expense across those different areas that you're looking to split that. Now, if it's subsidiaries that you're splitting that shared expense across, then of course that would be an intercompany journal, whereas if it was across departments, for example, then that would just be a standard journal. But NetSuite would automatically create those based on those distributions that have been created in the system. So coming on to number 9, we have got some SuiteAnalytics Workbooks UI enhancements. So just a reminder for those of you who aren't currently using SuiteAnalytics Workbook or may not be familiar with it. SuiteAnalytics Workbook is an analytical tool that lives within NetSuite. It allows you to create highly customizable workbooks and combine data sets, tables, pivot tables, and charts, and so on. It also allows you to do multi-level joins within the workbooks. So that's enabling you to create workbooks and data sets using field data from multiple different record types, including custom records there as well. So basically things that you would usually do in Excel, so pivot tables, charts, and so on, can be done within these SuiteAnalytics workbooks. Now, with the SuiteAnalytics workbooks, they were released back in 2019, but they are constantly being enhanced. As part of the 2023.2 release, we've got 3 different functional enhancements of the SuiteAnalytics workbooks. So as you see on the screen, they're adding all fields to table views. So that's an option when you're in the SuiteAnalytics workbook now, as well as a new menu for workbook tabs and enhancements to the number format settings as well. So if that is something that you're interested in using, the workbooks functionality, and something that you may not be taking use of just now, then once again, please feel free to get in touch with your account manager and we can provide some further details on that functionality and how it may help your business. So next up at number 8, we have got some enhancements to the electronic bank payment functionality within NetSuite. So first of all, with 2023.2, there's a custom SuiteApp plugin which allows you to add filters to the invoice payment processing with different custom fields beyond the standard classifications within NetSuite. Now you see there in brackets a bit of a disclaimer that this does require a little bit of scripting to be able to do, but of course if this is something that you are interested in, then here at Eureka Solutions we do have our in-house development team that can assist with any of your requirements on this front. But basically what this allows you to do is add that flexibility and a bit more customization to this process, allow you to filter the invoice as part of that payment process beyond the standard classifications as you see on the screen just now. Beyond that as well, there's been an additional enhancement to the electronic bank payments, where bank detail records can now be displayed in the same view in both view and edit mode. So you see here an example of what it will look like from 2023.2, where you've got your bank details. This is currently in view mode, but you can see all of your bank account details from here as well, whereas previously you would have to go into the edit view to be able to display it in this format. So next up at number 7, one for the customers on this call that are using NetSuite's manufacturing functionality. We've got the costed bill of materials SuiteApp. Now, this is something that I know that a lot of you may have already inquired about, but is now officially available as of the 2023.2 release. Now, with the costed bill of materials SuiteApp, it calculates the total cost of an assembly based on the BOM revision, the routings, and the templates used. It allows you to view a comprehensive cost breakdown of an assembly item, as well as analyse the costs of individual components required for that assembly. Also allows you to estimate the potential costs of manufacturing items for that BOM, as well as accessing cost breakdowns for BOMs as part of your product engineering and costing processes. So coming in at number 6, those of you that have been on these sessions before, you'll know that there are pretty much always some sort of enhancements to the fixed asset management module in NetSuite, and as of 2023.2 the same applies. So there are more enhancements in this, so please feel free to look through the release notes for further details, but this was just a pick of some of the fixed asset management enhancements that are going to be available. So first of all, we've got the leased asset functionality being expanded out, so that lease records can now be supported for both semi-annual and quarterly rental frequency. So if you are using lease records, leased assets within NetSuite, you'll now be able to use those new frequencies. Beyond that, there has been a couple of enhancements in terms of asset splits. So now you are able to split fully depreciated assets, something that would previously require a bit of a workaround. The way that you would do that as of 2023.2 is on the asset split page. You can now select the fully depreciated asset in the asset name and ID field. Beyond that, once again, on the asset split side of things, you can now bulk asset split using a CSV import, which allows you to split assets across multiple asset records in one transaction. Now for this, there will be a sample CSV file available on the split asset page, which you can use as a guide to then import your data in using that CSV to split your assets. Coming in at number 5, we've got various different projects enhancements. So this will be relevant to those of you that are using the Suite Projects functionality within NetSuite. Now, to begin with, we've got enhancements on the project billing and revenue usability side of things, in that you can now display revenue elements and recognise revenue directly on project revenue rules, so increasing the visibility as well as making that traceability easier as well. Additionally, there are improvements on the project plans. So on the financial subtab on projects, it will now show project revenue recognition summary information. Now that summary information will include the likes of total revenue, recognised revenue, your planned revenue, as well as a link to the revenue arrangement as well. So once again, increasing the traceability that you've got across that project record. Beyond that, just a small enhancement here in terms of the time and expenses side of things. There's now the option to turn on and off the notification for the reject time entry box. So just a minor enhancement there. On the Project 360 dashboard side of things, now just a reminder that the Project 360 dashboard provides you a centralised view of key metrics, reports, statuses and resources across that Suite Projects module. And now with 2023.2, the Project 360 dashboard has got a couple of enhancements in terms of access levels, as well as the project portfolio filters. Now, in terms of access levels on that Project 360 dashboard, you can now change the access so that individual users have access to projects that are assigned to them, as well as to their department, their subordinates, or that view of all projects in that Project 360 dashboard. Now, beyond that, with the additional project portfolio filters, there are additional filters that have been added in to allow you to filter that dashboard down to the project, the client, the project manager that's in charge of that project, as well as project end date. So moving on down to number 4, we have got the advanced SaaS Metrics SuiteApp. Now, once again, I know that this is something that has been inquired about already, but as of 2023.2, it is now officially available. Now, with the advanced SaaS Metrics SuiteApp, it enables SaaS and contract-based businesses to inspect and analyse recurring revenue in greater detail. Now, the metrics dashboard includes industry-specific KPIs across your MRR, your ARR, as well as churn rate, renewal rate. There are also various different reports that are available as part of this SuiteApp. With the Advanced SaaS Metrics SuiteApp, it uses sales orders and invoices as a primary source record for the data that's on the dashboard, but you do also have the option to select secondary source records beyond sales orders and invoices to pull data onto the dashboard for that. You also have the capability to establish contract relationships. Now, this is done through a custom field, or it can also be done through automatic prediction from the system. Now, beyond that, with the Advanced SaaS Metrics SuiteApp, you can also process and include returns in those dashboard calculations. Coming in at number 3, we have got some pretty strong enhancements to the Rebate and Trade Promotions SuiteApp. Now, it's a SuiteApp that some of you may be aware of, some of you may already be using it. But just to recap, the Rebates and Trade Promotions SuiteApp is designed to calculate and track the receipt and payment of rebates awarded after a sale. Now, this was previously only available on inventory items, but as of 2023.2, you'll see from the list here, this has been opened up to various different item types within NetSuite, meaning that there's various different use cases where the Rebates and Trade Promotions SuiteApp can now come in handy. So whether that be the inventory items that it could already be used for, or the non-inventory items, item groups, kit items, assembly items, service items, you can now use the Rebates and Trade Promotions SuiteApp to manage and track your rebates across those different item types within NetSuite. Coming down to number 2, now once again, a pretty strong enhancement with the Cash 360, something that we're quite excited about here at Eureka Solutions. So once again, just a reminder that the Cash 360 lets you effectively manage your cash flow by providing a real-time view of your cash position and the ability to create and generate those fast and accurate near-term forecasts. Now, previously, when the Cash 360 functionality came out, this was limited to individual subsidiaries, which meant that for a lot of you on the call today, it wasn't quite enough functionality. It wouldn't provide that visibility across multi-entity group structures. As of 2023.2, there has been enhancements on that side of things. So instead of being able to just do the cash projections for your subsidiary, that can now be done across all other active subsidiaries within your NetSuite account. And that does also include consolidated subsidiaries as well. So much greater visibility across the entire group of your cash position. Beyond that as well, there have also been enhancements on the cash forecasting side of things. Previously, on the AR side of things, it was only invoices that were taken into consideration, and on the AP side of things, it was only supplier invoices that were taken into consideration. But now for the cash forecasts, all posting transactions for those calculations across AR and AP are included as part of Cash 360. Beyond that, you can now also view future dated transactions within those cash forecasts. So some pretty strong enhancements across this functionality. And once again, if this is something that you're wanting to have a look at and see how it would work for your business, then please feel free to get in touch with your account manager and we can discuss that with you in more detail. Just to show you the Cash 360 dashboard, just in case it's something that you are not aware of or something that you haven't looked into previously, given the previous limitations. You'll see here that with the dashboard, you can get that view across your cash balance, your AP and your AR, and importantly, you can get that weekly cash flow projection as well, visualized on that dashboard. So making sure that all information that we need as part of that cash flow forecasting is all in one place. Now, last but certainly not least, coming in at number 1, we have got NetSuite's guided learning. So with the NetSuite's guided learning, it's focused on helping users learn how to complete tasks by providing contextual guides within NetSuite. Now, the guided learning is designed for users that are just getting started with NetSuite, but of course it can also be used for continuous learning, or if you do want to recap on any key processes within the system, then that is another use case for NetSuite's guided learning. Now, it does include learning across general system navigation, so how to set up your home dashboard, how to personalize and add additional portlets to your home dashboard, as well as more role-based guides and process overviews specific to those roles. Beyond that, there are also more detailed guidance based on key tasks that would be completed in the system. Now, with the guided learning, it is completely self-managed learning, which means that new users to the system can learn at their own pace. They can take their time. They can also go back and complete those navigation and guides in the future as well, if they do need to recap on that. Now, with the guided learning, it's expected to be available in all editions of NetSuite as of that 2023.2 release. Now, you might have seen this as I flicked ahead on the slide earlier, but you'll see here an example of what that will look like. So on the right-hand side of the screen there, you see that we have got our guided learning, and we can go through the different tools, overviews, detailed guidance, as well as help and support for using the guided learning tool as well. So something that will allow new users to get up to speed more quickly with NetSuite. So that rounds it up for today's top 10 features. Now, of course, beyond that, there are constant updates to the sneak peeks, the blogs that NetSuite produce, as well as the release notes themselves. So we do urge you to sort of keep an eye on that. You can see that from the new release portal if you add that to your home dashboard. But beyond that as well, we of course will be providing regular updates. If you do want to discuss any of these features with your account manager, or if you do want to kind of have a catch up if there are any new features or enhancements that come out following this webinar, then of course please feel free to reach out to your account manager, and we would be more than happy to discuss that further. Perfect. So thank you, everyone. As mentioned, we'll finish up with a Q&A. So I'll just double check if there's been any questions. There's no questions in the Q&A box just now. But once again, please feel free to drop in any questions, or if you do have any sort of more detailed questions or discussions following today's webinar, then once again, reach out to your account manager, and we'd be more than happy to set up a call to go through any of the features that we have covered today, as well as any other features or functionality that you've seen as part of the new release communications. Perfect. So still no questions just now. And I see that there are some people trickling out of the call, but of course I'll wait around if there are any questions. Then once again, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. But once again, thank you everyone for joining this morning. It's been great to have you all on, and look forward to catching up again soon.